to Babe channel, and today we're discussing the most it's terrifying thing in the part of your research is how to define and make your hypothesis. I could define that hypothesis is the most personal thing that comes to your research, okay? I mean that your research is personal, but the hypothesis depends on your experience that you have actually done for this research. I mean, I'm talking about hypothesis is not for all types of fields. It depends, because I'm experienced actually in chemistry and medicine, so I know that hypothesis is so important for that. I mean, in chemistry, we need to do a hypothesis in lab to capture everything and know it's measurable or not, and to prove it's an improvement or not improvement. So it needs a hypothesis because it's gonna prove your research. Firstly, what is the hypothesis? Hypothesis is gonna predict the relation between two variables or more than one variable. So the relationship between them, you're gonna predict it, okay, because it's a new research. It differs from this as a quantitative research or not, so it's not a quantitative research, I'm talking about that. You were gonna predict the relation between the things that you were gonna give it. Actually, if you want to predict the caffeine on the students, okay, it's a topic for research, then this research are gonna talk about the caffeine for the students. Then you have to define a process to make your hypothesis and gonna be successful to prove or unprove. So briefly, hypothesis is prediction for the relationship. That is the sentence. After that, what is the process that I'm gonna go on? Then I could make my hypothesis. Okay, you could imagine it as a triangle. I'm gonna show you in that. As a triangle, and this triangle, I'm gonna show you the steps. First step is to make your variables. Make your variables. It means that you could divide your variables to independent and dependent variables. I mean, independent variables are the things that it's gonna be the things that you gonna not change. So I'm talking about the caffeine. Caffeine, I'm gonna change the caffeine. The dependent is the age of the students, the thing that I'm gonna use in caffeine, the type of caffeine that I'm gonna use it. So that thing is dependent, I'm gonna change it, but the caffeine is independent, I'm not gonna change that. And then step up in this triangle, you are gonna take the review. The review, we are gonna actually discuss the literature review in the previous video, how to make a literature review and its importance and all of that. So the literature review is gonna give you a key for the review. Okay, you're gonna test it and actually embed this thing in your sentence by just the words, okay? In the review, you could actually say and mention that the previous research are gonna say that this same thing is proved or not proved, something like that. So the review showed how you actually embed the literature review in your statement of hypothesis. Step up. The formulation of the question. This is the begin of your methodology, okay? I mean, this is the thing that will give your students or the researchers that read your research a key for your research. When you talk about what is the question that you're gonna guide that or prove or unproved, I mean, the question would be in my research right now, we're talking about the caffeine in students. The question would be, what is the rate of the caffeine in a student range 18 to 20? Okay, I mean that I'm gonna arrange that in my second thing that I'm gonna do. So here we're gonna make 3 steps for your research hypothesis. Firstly, identify the variables. Secondly is review the scientists and the previous researchers that have making this thing. I mean, you could define that and mention that in sentences. It's not about making a literature review again. No, it's gotta be a sentences. And third thing, in formulating the question, you're gonna formulate every question from this all improvement or unimprovement of your research. And here's 2 things that you could do it, and actually it's gonna be so strong addition for your hypothesis to make the things stable and measurable. When you're gonna make it stable, I mean, you're gonna make it as samples that you could do it in your hypothesis. Instead of using I prefer, is good, is better, these variables are not so preferred in your hypothesis. I mean, make it measurable. When you use that, more than 200 students are gonna get a chronic attack from the caffeine. So you make it stable and measurable. So that would be so preferred something in your hypothesis. And then when you do this all steps in your hypothesis, you're gonna make a full hypothesis statement that require everything about how much you're gonna test the thing. Is the thing's improvement or an improvement for this topic? If something is chemistry or physics, it's more important to use the numbers or use the symbols. So it's so important to prove everything by its sentence, or prove everything by its major. Okay, I mean, this is mathematically. You should prove it mathematically in every detail in it. If it's politics, you could prove it by the reactions and the things that already happens. If it's medicine, you should define what is the symptoms and what is the results of every medicine that have taken this type of symptom. I mean, you could make everything testable and measurable to prove your opinion or unapprove another opinion. And that was our video for today for how to build the hypothesis and what is the hypothesis. I hope it's been helpful for you. And